गणानां त्वा गणपतिं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमम् ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पत आनश्रन्वन्नो दिविसीदसादनम् ॐ श्री महागणपते नमः। ॐ शनीनां विश्वरूपं दाभ्यं बृहस्पतिं वरेण्यम् ॐ विष्णो परमं पदं तदा पश्यन्ति सूरयः दिवीव चक्षुराततम् ॐ श्रीं ह्रीं ज्योतिर्ब्रह्माय नमः। हरे ॐ श्रीं ह्रीं श्रीमहालक्ष्म्यै नमः। हरे राम कृष्ण हरे राम कृष्ण हरे राम कृष्ण. Okay, so we'll continue with where we left off in our previous session. Huh?
Start the second one, right? The red light on top. You have to press one.
Oh. But this is on, right?
Yeah. You can see the slow light.
Yeah. So we'll start where we left off in the previous session. That was, we finished with all the leprosy effects. So we'll start with on page 52, 1.2.91.
80, right?
91. So it says, if Rahu and Mars are in the 4th or 5th from Swamsa, tuberculosis is indicated. So I guess we can what we can decipher from this is maybe these two planets are responsible for tuberculosis.
Mars and
Rahu.
Mars and Rahu. TV?
Yeah, TV.
In Swamsa.
I mean, not necessarily, but this could be.
I will look into that. In the Somsha, but 4th, 5th from now.
Yeah. If Moon also aspect conjoins the combination, the disease is sure to occur. The Moon represents the health of the native. So if Moon also aspects, there are many cases where the aspect of Moon further enhances the signification. Like it said that when malefics like Rahu, Ketu, Mars are in the 2nd or 8th from Aruda Lagna, then it goes by the name of Kemadruma Yoga. Okay, but there is another dictum that says if Moon happens to aspect such a combination, then this poverty is sure to happen. Similarly here, when Moon also aspect joins this, the disease is sure to occur. The Moon represents the sustenance force. So that is the reason. Mars along in the 4th or 5th from Swamsa indicates boils, ulcers, cuts or gangrene. Now this is pretty straightforward. Any person who has a prominent Mars in the Navamsa, it basically enhances the characteristics of Mars on his or her personality. So just as such a person will be adamant, hot-headed, prone to anger, the other qualities of Mars will also manifest, like having frequent accidents, cuts, boils, ulcers. These are all manifestation of Mars. So both in the outer and the internal world, basically these are all effects of strong Mars.
So when you say strong, it is exaltation or
Vargotam and all that, because see Mars,
Yogakaraka.
not necessarily. Yogakaraka is a different. We are talking purely in Navamsa now. If it is in trines, what happens is Mars is Agni Tattva, and it has a tendency to cause inflammation. And
heat produces
right, produces heat, and that the same heat is responsible for ulcers, boils and cuts, because ulcers happen when you basically don't eat on time, and the gastric juices, which are basically acid in nature, eats the lining of the stomach. So just that the Agni Tattva predominant.
effect.
Yeah, Pitta effect, yes. Next, 1.2.94, Ketu in the 4th, 5th from Swamsa indicates glandular ailments like thyroid or waterborne diseases like dysentery or typhoid. Ketu in the 4th or 5th from Swamsa indicates glandular ailments like thyroid or waterborne diseases like dysentery or typhoid. So, question is why glandular, why waterborne? Any idea?
Fifth house is Jyothishya, right? Is it related with that?
No, not 4th or 5th. 4th or 5th is mainly talking about in trines.
Trine.
So basically that, every planet,
Fourth is trine?
4th is not a trine, but he's saying both 4th and 5th.
Oh, fourth.
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
He initially starts with the 5th house, now he's introducing the 4th house. Remember last class we were not there. Last class we remember I told you, just focus on, now he's introducing the 4th house. So, yeah, now the question is,
Is it because Ketu is the natural karaka of the Jiltat, natural, the owner of the 8th house,
Yeah,
the
ocean.
natural zodiac, Jiltat, which is a Jiltat.
you mean Scorpio?
Scorpio, is it because of that?
It is possible. It is possible.
But Scorpio is ice, right? Not a Jala.
Huh? Scorpio is Jiltat.
Scorpio is Jala Tattva.
But we said Scorpio like ice, like rigidity, like.
No, Scorpio is not rigidity. Scorpio is ice. Scorpio is not ice.
Ice is right up from Meshra.
Yeah, ice. Yeah,
Ice.
Scorpio is not a co-ice. What makes you think Scorpio is ice?
No,
The
because
mentality of a Scorpio person is like ice cold.
Yeah, ice cold.
No, actually it's the opposite. Scorpio is a very passionate people and they are very vindictive. They are not ice cold.
One of the classmates were just saying that the person is very hard to know what is inside that person.
What is inside the person? True. Because Scorpio, like Ketu rules Scorpio. See, very important to understand, Scorpio is ruled by Mars and Ketu. Both these planets are termed as Guhya. Guha, like the secret. In fact, Kartikeya's another name is also Guha. So, and Ketu, see, Rahu goes beneath, like Varaha Avatar, digs and brings it, like research and displays to the world. Ketu does the opposite, smoky. If somebody is attacking you and you throw a smoke bomb, that basically gives you time to escape. So basically Ketu covers everything, hides. These two are expert. With Mars at the lower level, Ketu is the highest level. The terrorists are always hiding. So that is Ketu, the ability to hide, to conceal. And that's why Scorpio, and hence for Scorpio dominated people, it becomes very difficult to understand what's going inside their minds, or it will not come out in front. It's very difficult. So it's not ice. But I don't know in what sense Narasimha said it's ice, but okay, so
among the other Jala Tattvas, this is kind of rigid. Sorry.
Ketu is rigid.
No, that Scorpio. Sorry. I may be wrong.
That's true, not rigid. What are the three watery signs?
Cancer, Pisces.
And
Cancer, Scorpio, and then Aquarius.
no, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. These are the three watery signs,
Right.
right?
Right.
4 at 12. What is Cancer?
Moon.
I know. No, what I meant is, Cancer is a Chara.
Okay.
It's a Chara Rashi, right?
Moon.
Movable. So it represents mass bodies of water which keeps moving. Pisces is Dvisvabhava,
Dear.
dual. So it's either flowing or at some point it is not flowing. Scorpio is sthira. That's why stagnation. The gutters. Scorpio is one of the dirtiest places. So all the gutters underneath, that swamps and marshes. That's what Scorpio is.
No, but swamps, those things go for more Capricorn rather than marshlands and
It is.
swamps, and those things go for Capricorn rather than.
But it's stagnated water stagnation, I think.
Yeah,
It's
see,
stagnated.
gutter water.
Yeah.
Standstill water.
Yeah, any place where there is a puddle of water or something which is like infested
flow.
with mosquitoes,
There's no
and
flow.
it's not like something you would want to drink. That is all Scorpio.
I have one question.
Mm.
In just going back a couple of steps, when we were looking at 1291, we said Rahu and Mars, if they are in the 4th or 5th from sunset, TB is indicated.
Mm.
I have a chart here which don't have to analyze the chart, but just want to.
Mm.
It is Rahu in 5th house.
Mhm.
Is it Rahu and Mars, or is it just Rahu? I have Rahu in 5th house here with the moon. It's a Capricorn Lagna with the moon in Lagna. Rahu in 5th house. So is it just, and he has moon has aspect on him. Rashi Drishti.
Mars is also required.
So it is Mars and Rahu. It is not just one of them.
Right.
So that and of them.
Right. So,
And, by
yeah,
the way, Mars is in 11th house in Scorpio,
Mhm.
aspecting
the 4th house.
4th house, aspecting the 5th house.
Yeah, it is possible, but there are other factors also you have to include, like a D6. You have to analyze D6 before jumping to conclusion.
Okay.
Okay.
This is Upadesha.
Yeah, yeah. This is Upadesha. You're right. These are these are advisory stanzas under by Jaimini Maharshi, who has assumed that you have studied Parasara. Yeah, but normally you have to analyze other aspects of the chart and then you focus on this. Typically, you for finer details go to D6. You'll understand. You'll get a better picture. But these basically indicate there are possibilities like TB kind of infection is possible. So we have to understand what kind of disease is TB, how it happens, what are the symptoms, or what causes TB.
So with this particular chart, I can analyze from because Mars has a 7th aspect on 5th house.
Mhm.
Moon is in ascendant.
Right. Typically, when you're talking, yeah, you're right. But typically, when you're analyzing diseases,
Go to D6 or D30.
true, D6, D30 is fine. And if you want to analyze D9, look for Rashi Drishti. Graha Drishti shows desire. Unless the person has a desire to get TB. But
Unless there's a possibility of TB, right?
No, the person doesn't have a desire. But it's like
So-
Mars has a desire to give TB during his dasha when it comes.
right, but then in such cases, it's better to take just Rashi Drishti.
Okay.
Now, so we were discussing Ketu in the 4th and 5th, glandular ailments. So I think we need to study more on what is the glandular ailments and how it is connected to Ketu. Okay, the next 1.2.95. Rahu and Gulika in the 4th, 5th indicates affliction from dangerous poison. I think the very first stanza when we started out was like Sun and Gulika, or in the ascendant, snake bites or something, right? Similarly here, see, Gulika has to do with poison.
Gulika itself,
Giving or
Gulika
taking?
means poison.
Poison, okay.
Some medicine.
Okay.
Both, right?
Yeah.
Gulika and Mandi both.
Yeah. Typically, the way Sanjayji differentiates is
Yeah.
Gulika is the poison we receive from the world. That means like Shiva, we have to drink it, and Mandi is something that we give. So during the time of the Gulika, or during when Gulika is active, that's when we have to take the poison. So that is something that you have to keep in mind, and hence it will affect us. So Rahu and Gulika in the 4th or 5th indicates afflictions from dangerous poison. If you can analyze chart of drug addicts and everything, into cocaine users and somebody who are addiction, Which planet causes addiction? It's Rahu,
Right.
Saturn. But Rahu is more like the psychotropic substances and all that. Saturn is purely alcohol. So you look for Rahu and Gulika as the
It
key.
has to be Saturn and something else to cause alcohol.
Saturn is purely alcohol.
Where if Saturn being where can cause that alcohol?
Oh, so Saturn being in a particular place. Okay. It could be anything. Basically, Saturn causes sorrow, and that causes some kind of Rahu is also key addiction to basically drink.
Because in my case I have Saturn strong, but alcohol is 0.
Right. True. I didn't say Saturn.
So Saturn being in some place should be causing it.
No, not necessarily. You can find 12 different charts with Saturn in various houses causing it. The thing is, what does it affect? It should affect the mind. Saturn with Moon. And then it should not be a negative Saturn. Then in that case, that alcoholism will manifest. If it's a positive Saturn, like you'll see many saints with strong Saturn, unafflicted, basically not weak. There are many saints who have the Saturn afflicting Moon, because this is one of a very important factor for Pravarajya Yoga. And that means it has to cause shock and sorrow, and then the person will decide what to take, whether alcohol or God's name, and so on and so forth. And in the notes section he adds, Parasara gives broader interpretation of Rahu and Gulika in the 4th or the 5th to either indicate a doctor capable of handling deadly poisons or one who consumes such substances. So it's very important to even look at these in the charts of, as I said earlier, toxicologists, or basically removing poison from, yeah. Notes under the aspect of Mercury or Venus indicates medical knowledge to handle poison. I think in the last class explained why Mercury, Moon and Mercury are indicates medicine. Even Venus, because Sanjeevani mantra. Yeah. Jupiter's aspect indicates consumption of poison by the native, while the aspect of Mars indicates selling such drugs and
Jupiter indicates
consumption. Jupiter is more at the personal level. Remember that stanza where I think Rahu and Mars aspecting the native will set fire, and if Jupiter his own
house.
Which is the planet which prevents fire? Venus. Venus is Agni Stambhana mantra, that Agni Stambhana. That's why I also said when you fire engine. It's a sakuna for Venus. One 1.2.96 now.
Mars aspect, what is it? Jupiter.
Selling, giving or selling. One 1.2.96. Saturn alone in the 5th house produces an archer, or one who wields the bow and arrow. Why? I don't know. I have no idea why. Saturn. Maybe one of the reasons I can think of, it's more, see, Saturn, and we take it in a positive sense, indicates concentration. And when you wield the bow and arrow, you need concentration, right? Single pointed, like Arjuna looking at the image of the bird, a fish or whatever, and then shooting. You need pinpointed concentration, and that's my guess. Next one, 1.2.97. Ketu alone in the 5th house gives abilities to make watches and other precision equipment light engineering electronic goods. Ketu is all small in size. Rahu on the other end is big. So Ketu gives interest in small electronics and mechanical aptitude for
Cell
small.
phone represented.
I beg your pardon?
The cell phone is.
Yeah, it's like a communication instrument, so it's Mercury. But the small integrated circuits and all that are all Ketu. Miniaturization is all Ketu. He's not expensive. He's smoky, but he cuts down. In fact, when Mars and Venus are in the second from Navamsa Lagna, the person is very passionate. Okay, and when Jupiter aspect, it makes it more expensive is Jupiter. When Ketu aspect, it cuts down. Oh, okay.
So this is when alone, not with any other planet.
What?
Ketu is alone.
Well,
Suppose
yeah,
planet
typically.
and Ketu are there, then
No, it could manifest in either way. He specifically here said alone, but you could see the effects of Ketu in trines even if other planets are there. Depends on which planet is stronger.
Can I put the lights on or is it okay?
It is up to you guys. I have no problem.
Lights are better.
I beg your pardon?
both. The person who have both.
Okay.
They
Yeah.
say that this is an ability.
Yeah.
More than one.
And another thing is, I think when you ask questions, just raise your voice because I'm sure the others are also interested in your question. Do you want to look at charts right now, or we can do charts later on? Just anybody has any chart, just to make a practical application is very important. Okay.
You want to take this?
Yes. So
you want to suggest something?
Yeah.
When you take this chart,
vY2bU we are trying to.
preferably
Only these.
apply all the logic that we are looking into.
right.
So from that given chart, we will see with each planet being in what location
Yeah,
is
actually,
possibly
so we should know
relating to
more
what.
theory then.
Okay.
Other planets in different sources.
Okay, we'll finish till page 58. Once we are done, we'll start taking. Okay. Thank you, Prasad. Okay. Next, 1.2.98. Actually, okay. Mercury alone in the fifth house indicates an ascetic, member of a religious order, or one who uses a walking stick. Okay, next. So why Mercury?
Why walking stick?
Well, like she is a student, so he will follow something.
That would be my guess. Like basically, Mercury makes you,
Different.
follow some teaching, that kind of thing. Typically, there are some vague stanzas like this, which at least right now I am not qualified to explain, or at least I don't have the reason why this is so. If I get to know, then I'll let you know. But typically, look at for other indications of Mercury, a good student.
Maybe it has something to do with because Navamsa.
No. Navamsa basically shows everything, even your passion, interest in electronics and all that.
Okay.
Okay, next 1.2.99, close to the century mark. Rahu in the fifth indicates a metallurgist. See, Rahu and Saturn are metals and all that. So Rahu typically, or heavy engineering, anything big is Rahu. Next, 1.2.100. The Sun in the fifth indicates a swordsman, one who carries a blade or a knife. In fact, blade, knife, spear, any kind of weapon That's why when Sun is in the third from Aruda Lagna, the person dies of such a weapon. Even gun.
Mars and third from Mars are like
No, Sun also. Sun, like Mahatma Gandhi had Sun, and he died with a fire weapon.
Sun I thought because of Rajadanda.
No? Where did Mahatma Gandhi get Rajadanda?
One of the PS.
You're right. Spear is Mars, which is the next stanza.
Okay.
But Sun indicates maybe a big knife, even a fire weapon. So Mars in the fifth indicates a spear, a lancer or a spear, or somebody who is good at such thing. This is more applicable to the previous generation, and where they used to use swords and all that. But I think that could be modified with the current. Yeah. Typically, when you say Desha Kala Patra and all that, that becomes very important. If you're talking about a person born in Iraq, then it is still applicable. But in modern day, you look at the other aspects, like Mars will give interest in logic, the power of execution. Mars is logic.
As we are going yesterday also, I noticed this. Not all the stanzas are coded.
Yeah, not all of them. So,
in this case, when it says Ravina Khadgi, it is not anything with no coding in this.
Right. Not. See, there are some ways where there are some stanzas which initiate a particular flow of stanzas. There he codes, and then in subsequent he says, for Ketu it's this, for this it's that.
Okay.
So it's not like everything is coded, but
And also,
but if you don't follow, one sec. But if you don't follow the coding, one sec, let me finish. But if you don't follow the coding methodology, you will never get anything.
So where should we follow, where should we not follow? Because in this case, we don't have to follow at all.
Right.
These stanzas.
Right.
Because there was one other sentence I was going through where it will only first two words are coded, rest is regular.
Yes.
So
Just follow it.
but if those words also make a literal meaning,
Then you should sit and decode it and see if it makes sense. Right? Because of course, even I noticed that not everything is decoded, but to sit and decode is real pain. The other things, because I just follow the book, what it has said so far. Maybe when I have reached a certain stage, then I can sit and decode the others. Because right now this is enough. An excellent author is indicated by the presence of Moon and Jupiter in Swamsa. The fifth, so it's 1.2.102. What gives an excellent author? Moon and Jupiter. Venus instead of Jupiter in the first fifth also indicates an author, but of lesser capability. That's the next one. The next 1.2.104, Mercury instead of Jupiter or Venus also indicates an author, but even a lesser capability. Venus in the Swamsa or the fifth indicates a poet, an eloquent speaker, or a knowledgeable critic. This is very important. Venus in the fifth. Venus gives poetry, that we all know. A good speaker also, and a knowledgeable critic. I think it's also somewhere else it has been elaborated as Venus gives eye for details. And the same knowledgeable critic. Critic means to understand what's going on, to understand the nitty-gritties, the details. Only then you can critique anything. Jupiter in the Swamsa or the fifth indicates a genius, having knowledges in various branches and a great author. We understood Jupiter as author. A person having Jupiter in the fifth is basically very well developed intellect and wisdom and all that.
One here which has Jupiter, Venus in Swamsa with Moon in 5th house.
Yeah, that's good. Jupiter, Venus, and author. However, such a position of Jupiter does not give eloquence. Jupiter in the 5th. Jupiter does indicate a grammarian, knowledge of religious scriptures like Vedas, a philosopher and a Vedantist. So Jupiter, all traditional subjects.
Shankara might have it.
Huh?
Adi Shankara might
Yeah.
should have that comment.
Yes. Saturn in the 1st, 5th makes a man nervous in assembly or gathering. Stage fright is indicated by this, and such people will shy away from limelight. Mercury in the 1st, 5th indicates a mimamsaka or involvement in interpretation of texts, etc. So writing is also like you interpret text, you write.
What is Mimamsaka?
Mimamsa is the Shada Darshan. There are Shada Darshan, 6 different types of philosophies.
Mimamsa.
Yes.
Say in Telugu. Who does the Mimamsa?
Mimamsa is typically ruled by Mercury, and typically if you read Mimamsaka, it's more about arguments and analysis, and just like Mercury. A logician is indicated by Mars in the 1st, 5th house. Now Moon in the 1st, 5th gives knowledge of Sankhya and Yoga philosophies besides history, rhetorics and music, and or produces a singer. A Moon in the 5th house gives knowledge of Sankhya Yoga. See, I told you Moon represents medicine, right? And Sankhya Yoga is one of the bases of Ayurveda. So it talks about the 3, Vata, Pitta, Kapha, all come from Sankhya Yoga. 3 gunas and all that. So Moon also produces a singer. Note down. So if somebody is very good at singing, what should be in trine? Moon. Yes, Moon and 5th. The Sun in the 1st, 5th gives knowledge of Vedas and Bhagavad Gita.
What is the number of that sloka?
1.2.113, 113. 114. Ketu in the 1st, 5th gives mathematical ability. See, Ketu shows the highest form of intuition. Mathematics, you require a lot of intuition. There are, given an equation, it can be solved in many ways. There's a long way to go about it or a short way. So your intuition, the more well developed your intuition, the more easy it becomes to crack a solution. At least when I was doing my mathematics, it was like, it used to come to me, the answer used to come to me. It was so easy for me.
Other person we can check the chart is Ramanujan.
Ramanujan, yes, a great mathematician. Jupiter aspecting conjoining the above planets in the 5th will give all-round knowledge, both traditional, modern and proficiency in at least one branch. So Jupiter, as you know, is an expansive planet. So if it joins these planets, it just tends to accentuate their, so it basically expands.
Because of
Akash Tattva. Jupiter very important. Then in 116, Gemini adds that the results, whatever we have read from 102 to 115, are also applicable to the 2nd house. So the question is, how do we differentiate between these various houses? I think Sanjay ji in Atri lecture has clearly differentiated. When it is in the 1st house, it is something that you are very good at and possibly at birth. Okay. When it is in the 9th house, you go guru or an institution to learn it. When it is in the 5th house, in between, you have to abhyas, right? Yeah. Okay, abhyas, you have to do some effort, and when it is in the second house, it is a abhyas and something that you are born with, plus it's something that you will make money out of. Resource. Like a Artha Trikona, right? Part of Artha Trikona.
Or it should become resource for you to carry on. Like for example, mathematical ability is your resource.
Yes, you can do that.
Does it mean that when it says here, however, Parasara has indicated that besides 1 and 5th, these are applicable to second and third houses as well. Does it mean that 2, 6 and 10 also you consider in the same aspect?
Right,
of
but
these planets?
but I would say just limit yourself to 1, 2, 5, 9. Otherwise, then there are all 12 houses. It becomes very
When you say
difficult
1
to.
and 2, you mean whenever something he talked about being in 1, you expect a similar result while it's in 2 as well.
Right, but the reason is different. Like Jupiter in 2 or Jupiter in 1, there's a difference, as we said, or Jupiter in 5 and Jupiter in 9. What is the difference between all of them? Is we have to use the logic that Sanjayji gave us. But it will typically indicate, what Jupiter stands for. Then we'll go to 1.18. Ketu in the second aspected by malefics produces stammering and other speech defects. Typically I found that when Mercury, the Karaka for speech, is afflicted by a Ketu, then stammering could occur, or the second lord. Here in the second house Ketu, you see, Ketu produces defects. It tends to hold back.
If it happens in Rashi, then they say it's put a Vagdata.
Yeah, Ketu Sputa Vagdata.
Sputa, what does that mean?
Sputa Vagdata is clear speech.
Ketu is anything but spashtam.
But while
Where did you get that? Yeah, it means clear.
Right.
But where did you?
Natima gave us this. He said Ketu is Sputa Vagdata. BPH.
It could be only whether it, no. It could be only if it's a benefic and a very strong Ketu. In which case it will become like a rishi. Like Ketu is rishi, Vedas. So only if it is benefic. Otherwise it causes stammering and all kinds of problems.
Yeah,
If it is in Mercury,
No, Ketu was in Taurus. No, we have seen one chart where Ketu was in Taurus. Yeah.
And what happened to that?
Mercury also. Was Mercury
Yeah,
and
Mercury.
Ketu and
Yeah, Mercury. No, we have recollecting an example where we have seen a case where the person is put very clear in speech and all. So for that person, Netu's chart, Rashi chart, Ketu was in second house, so like Aries Lagna. So we are recollecting that.
Okay.
So maybe Mercury, I don't know, Mercury.
Like
maybe second house.
B.V. Raman had Rahu in the second house. So we have to be careful. Just Rashi chart doesn't show a lot. That way you can say B.V. Raman was the biggest liar on earth because Rahu is in the second. No, that's not the case. There are you have to see the other aspects also. The second lord being strong. Ketu typically, unless it's strong and benefic, it doesn't indicate any spashtam. In fact, it is the opposite. Because spashtam is clear is to see when the second lord or Mercury is strong, like exaltation, then the person will say the right thing without any beating around the bush or anything. He will be able to express clearly the right amount of words, right time, etc. When the Mercury is or the second lord is afflicted, then the person will talk nonsense, will talk anything but that subject that he is supposed to talk. Beating around the bush, not able to clearly express himself.
Is Ketu?
No, when second lord or Mercury is afflicted. In fact, Ketu is for hiding, and so it is. Find it difficult to believe it is spashta, unless it is very strong and aspected by benefic planets. Then it would give that spashta.
When you say afflicted, it should be with malefic.
Malefics or debilitated or anything.
Or is it
Sun and Mercury creates the Buddha-Aditya yoga. But Sun is that's where the malefic effect there with the Mercury. So that yoga is a positive yoga.
What has that got to do with?
No, I'm just saying that when you say Mercury is afflicted, so when Mercury is affliction, I'm thinking about it.
First of all, Sun is not a Papa Graha. Sun is Krura.
So it's not as bad as Mars.
Sun, if it is with Mercury, he's talking more about spiritual knowledge. The Buddha Aditya Yoga, more about, because when Sun eclipses, then spirituality in that aspect of life which is ruled by that planet which is eclipsed, or combust, sorry, not eclipse, combust, makes, is more like it. Like if Venus is combust, then spirituality in your marital life is a must. A spiritual spouse is a must for you to basically get out of the effects of combustion. Otherwise you will suffer, or the person will suffer. Cause lot of mental turmoil and everything.
So the basic affliction will be the malefic, the Mars, Rahu, Ketu.
Yeah, Mars, Saturn. Yeah.
Here it says third house as well. No?
Yeah, I don't go for that, because then in that case we'll take all trines and then all the 12 houses indicate everything. It's very clear. I just use this and it works. Ketu okay. 1.2.119. See, malefics simultaneously in the 2nd and 8th house from Lagna, Aruda Lagna and Swamsa causes Kema Dharma Yoga. Poverty. It's very interesting. I think Sanjay ji also mentioned it in his lecture on Kema Dharma Yoga in one of the conferences. From the Lagna, it indicates the physical sense, in the physical.
Which one are you talking about?
119. From Lagna, if you have malefics in the 2nd and 8th, it talks about in the physical, causes diseases and all that. From the Aruda Lagna, it shows financial and status. From the Kemadrup Yoga, from the Atmakaraka in Swamsa, that is what Swamsa means. If it is Navamsa Lagna, then it causes problems in marriage. If it is in Swamsa, it causes spiritual problems and all that. So you take the appropriate reference point and the appropriate Varga and then interpret it accordingly.
This is kind of little contradicting, right?
Why?
For example, if you say malefics in 2nd and 8th from Lagna, Aruda Lagna. So if Ketu is if Ketu or these planets fall in 2nd from, I'm talking about a combination where they could be, I don't have an example to give you, but I'm talking about a combination where they could fall in from Lagna in one place and from Aruda Lagna in similar place, 2 or 8, which could be contradicting.
No, but for Lagna you're looking at health. For Aruda Lagna, your financial and status. For Navamsa Lagna, it is your marriage and all that happiness. And in Swamsa is spirituality wise.
So we are looking at it only in Navamsa now or Rashi also?
Rashi also. You can look at it Rashi also, Aruda Lagna also.
So all these that we are discussing now are applicable to Rashi as well?
In Rashi you look at it from Aruda Lagna. But when you look at, see, for example, you have to take the right, most of it is just Navamsa.
Okay.
But when you're talking about Kemudruma Yoga, when you're talking about health, it is more in the Rashi.
More in the Rashi.
When you're talking about marriage, it is more in Navamsa. When you talk about spirituality, then it's in the Navamsa, Swamsa, not Navamsa Lagna, but Karakamsha.
Atmakaraka.
Yes, Karakamsha. When you're talking about status, it is Aruda Lagna in Rashi. Later on, he will say that all these combinations you learnt is also applicable from Aruda Lagna. So, then in the next stanza he says, if moon aspects this, experience is the best teacher, so you'll apply, you'll slowly learn. moon aspect the second 8th house having malefics, then abject poverty is sure. It's like, as I told you earlier, that moon aspect gives that tuberculosis and all that is sure to happen. Similarly here, it is sure to happen. And the result will manifest during the dasas of signs or planet concerned.
Second and 8 or second or 8?
Second and 8, 2 and 8. 2, but either or is also fine. But it, yeah, like if malefics, if the second from Aruda Lagna is very bad, then all the Raja Yogas are destroyed and person suffers loss of position and finance. But on the other hand, if you have very strong benefics, like Mercury in the second from Aruda Lagna, Raj Yoga, and basically gives you kingdom, like Sri Ram had Mercury in the second from Aruda Lagna. And I think it was, if you apply the Mula Dasa, it was during Mercury Dasa that he got his kingdom back and, went on to.
One here which is Ketu in second from Aruda Lagna.
Yes.
Okay. It's my chart. The Scorpio Rashi, Scorpio Navamsa.
Okay.
With Ketu moon in.
Scorpio Rashi, Scorpio Navamsa. Oh, Ketu.
Ketu in.
No, Ketu is not there.
Sorry. Navamsa Lagna is in
Scorpio.
Scorpio.
Okay.
With Ketu moon in 12.
Okay.
Ketu is second and AL is in Virgo, which means Ketu is.
Oh, hold on. You are saying Ketu, your Navamsa Lagna is Scorpio, with moon and Ketu in the 12th in Navamsa.
Correct.
Now, you are going back to Rashi chart and you are saying the Aruda Lagna.
No.
In Navamsa, don't look at Aruda Lagna.
Don't look at Aruda Lagna in
No.
Navamsa.
At least I don't use it.
So whenever he is talking about Aruda Lagna, go to Rashi only?
Yeah. That is at least my take for now. You can want to experiment with it.
Because this question I have, whenever Sanjay is talking in 3 or other lectures also, I don't know where he is applying because
Mostly it is Rashi chart. Mostly it is Rashi chart unless you are basically focusing on a particular aspect of Navamsa like marriage or where the Aruda Lagna, how you are perceived and what manifests. Then you are focusing in Navamsa or in Dasamsa how the person is perceived and what dasas are good. Then you use the Aruda Lagna and all the Arudas there. But usually when you just talk about Aruda Lagna, you're just talking about Rashi chart. So I think we finished this in chapter 1, I think quarter 2 or something, and I think we'll now start with some examples and we'll have some discussion. Okay. So we can take any charts, then we can discuss all the whatever is applicable.
So the general thing so far, whenever you are talking of Swamsa, you are talking about Karakamsa?
No.
Or Swamsa, you are talking about Navamsa?
Both Karakamsa and Navamsa. It depends on what you are looking at. If you are looking at something from the soul level or the results are soul level, like for example interest or when you are good at repairing watch, which got nothing to do with at the soul level, you are physical, there Navamsa Lagna is used. But when there is more something to related to soul like moksha etc., then you use the Swamsa.
Religiousness or whatever.
Huh?
Religiousness.
Yeah, religiousness and all. Yeah. Even a person may be interested in religion, but that has nothing to do with soul, like joining a particular order or something. Then I would say use both. Excuse me.
You want to restart them and then
Restart both. Okay, we'll start with examples. So it's not yours, right? Okay. No, I mean I have yours. July 5th.
1989.
July 5th, 1989.
2:07 p.m. 2 hours 7 minutes.
So 1407.
Yeah, 14 hours.
place?
Visakhapatnam.
Visakhapatnam. So it's July 5th, 1989, 14:07, that is 2:07 in the afternoon, Visakhapatnam, India. Okay. You can see it, right?
Yeah. We can see.
Okay, so you should be getting Libra rising around the 20th degree of Libra, with Pisces rising in Navamsa.
Can you put the North Indian chart on the side?
Oh yes. Related to display, use of two chart style.
Oh, two charts chart, okay.
You want two charts, right?
Yeah.
Because north and south. Okay, so what do we want to analyze here? Just the Navamsa, right? I mean, just general analysis.
11th is Rahu.
Oh, hold on. 11th is Rahu.
I mean, 5th.
Yeah, but this is Rashi chart.
Rashi chart. Yeah, Rashi chart.
And also note that the
And it is the health of the
Okay, he says from either of these four places.
Jupiter, yeah.
okay, so the person has sun in the Navamsa Lagna. Okay, so sun could be a person with a strong sun or a sun.
That itself shows that he cannot be in a poverty level. Sun being, yeah, but still sun in Navamsa also gives
We are talking about ability, so he could be a good singer, he or she could be. Is he good at singing? No, okay, maybe good at management or something.
He is good at playing instruments.
Playing, oh, that's what I said, playing instruments.
Music means.
I don't know what question I asked. Actually, strong sun would give good at playing instruments. A strong moon would give good at singing.
Singing, right.
A strong sun basically gives good sense of rhythm.
Right.
So this seems to be accurate. The sun is in Lagna. Another, and you have that Mercury moon. Oh, the combination of Mercury, moon, Venus, Rahu is not good. No, moon and Venus and all is Rudra Yoga, but Mercury and moon are not good for character. The character of a person.
But in 9th house though.
So it's even bad. 9th house is afflicted. You will find
Moon is debilitated, it's in Scorpio.
you have to see the chart as a whole, but when I see a Scorpio afflicted like that, it will ring bells, big bells.
But we have to look at each planet agenda, right?
Agenda, but Mercury and Moon has got not a good agenda in Scorpio.
Okay.
But let's. No, it is that. Mr. Ant is bothering us. That's okay. I'm fine with it. Oh, what are you doing?
I'm increasing the volume.
Yes.
Sensitivity of this.
Yes.
Actually, here moon is the 5th lord, and then Mercury is the 7th lord.
Yeah.
5th and 6th conjoining and the 9th.
Fourth.
Yeah, Mercury is 4th lord, and they are conjoining the 9th house. That is somewhat.
Don't look at Raja. I never said look at the 4th and 5th lord here. In all the stanzas we have read, is it said that the 4th and the 5th lord makes a Raja Yoga?
Let's take it as planet.
First you have to take it as a planet and see what are the strengths and weaknesses, how it can. Then we'll see a Raja Yoga.
Okay.
Mercury, Moon, Rahu, not a good. How do you know this? See, Rahu is it doesn't change. In fact, it will add. Do you know that person very well?
Yeah.
Okay.
But this person should be very spiritual person also, because Rahu being in 9th house can make him into the other extreme of spirituality.
Not necessarily.
He is very spiritual.
Okay, but we have to see the other. Yeah, but typically it shows lot of trouble also. this combination of Mercury, Moon.
Rahu is in Maranatharasthana.
Yeah.
Atmakaraka is in Maranatharasthana.
Where in Navamsa, 7th house is important. Analyze from the 7th house, remember?
Yes. Right.
Why
So-
7th house? I missed that.
I remember last time we said that Venus should be in the 12th house to cause lot of problems in marital life, like no marriage or lot of problems if
12th
it is.
from?
No, in Marna Karakasthana from the 7th house.
Okay.
What is the Marna Karakasthana for Venus?
6th house.
6th house. From 7th to the 6th becomes the 12th, right?
Right.
In Marna Karakasthana has to be analyzed from the Karya Bhava, I said.
Right.
Can you please mention each planet's Murakan?
Sun is 12th.
Sun is 12. Okay.
Venus 6th.
Moon, we'll start with Sun, Moon. Moon is 8. Mars 7.
Because marriage, he doesn't want to get into
No, it's Mercury.
Mercury is keep it as 4/7.
Jupiter third,
Third,
Saturn 1,
Saturn 1.
Venus
Venus 12,
Venus
Venus 6.
Venus 6th.
Venus 6.
Saturn.
Saturn 1,
1.
Saturn 1.
Yeah.
Rahu 9, Rahu 9. Right?
Rahu 9.
He doesn't want to do his dharmic work.
Yeah.
It's like you have to see the functional behavior where they don't want to do work.
Ketu.
Ketu, they say it's 2nd house.
Because he doesn't want to
So I'll
do
just
work.
repeat. Sun 12, Moon 8, Mars 7, Mercury 4 7, Jupiter 3, Venus 6, Saturn 1, Rahu 9, Ketu 2.
Yeah. Ketu, Mokshakaraka doesn't want family. It becomes Marna Karaka. Okay. What
Here, this is the problem is talking about because Rahu is eclipsing everybody. Everybody is eclipsed by Rahu, or is it just the placement of we are talking about? Is the placement of those planets in that 9th house is what we are talking
No, in Scorpio is bad.
in Scorpio.
But if you want to analyze the strengths and weaknesses, you can say that these planets are in trine, so one of them will manifest.
But why are we giving so much importance to Rahu? But
That's
there are
because-
other 3 planets that are
I did not. Somebody else did. Rahu, Atmakaraka plays an important role in a chart, so hence you have to give importance. See, Mercury, Moon and Venus are there, so interest in poetry, literature will manifest. What else do you want to analyze? I mean, do you know the person very well?
Yes, sir.
So apart from playing instruments, what is he good at?
No, but we have to apply. We are applying Gemini's class or
Yeah.
we are analyzing this class of
No, apply Jaimini's Upadesh Sutras. What do you get when Mercury is in trine? Typically, Mimamsaka, a good student. Venus, poetry,
knowledgeable
a critic,
eye for detail.
eye for details, yes. Moon,
Singing.
singing, but here it's debilitated, so it won't. Yeah. Rahu, interest in big,
heavy engineering.
heavy, big, abstract mathematics. Yes, Rahu is abstraction. Actually, Ketu is abstraction because it hides. Abstract. The meaning of abstraction is hiding. Abstract mathematics,
Theory of relativity.
theory of relativity. These are all, yes, abstract. But somehow, abstraction is to hide, and Ketu is the one who does hiding. But when you are talking about abstract mathematics and all, it is the Rahuian kind of mathematics. So, yes, Rahu in the trines will show that.
So we get Rahu and Kulika in first shows affliction from poison, right?
Poison, yes.
We apply this here.
Both Rahu and Gulika are there. So that person may be interested in analyzing,
Where
some
is the 9th house? Gemini said only 5th house.
First and fifth.
first and fifth. So it's not that important. But were it to be, then such a person will be a toxicologist. What is then his job?
He was a student.
A student, yeah. It's 83. But Another thing, Mars is in 10th. That would just increase the effect of Venus on Lagna, right? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Friday. Yeah.
Venus. So that Venus is, huh? Yes, because you are not there last week. When a planet is in the 10th house, then it will affect the Lagna in Navamsa. And the way you do it is, use the weekday order. So it is Sunday to Saturday and then followed by Rahu Ketu. So Mars is in the 10th. So it starts from Tuesday. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday becomes the Lagna. That means Venus, effect of Venus on Lagna. So that will accentuate the effect of Venus. So eye for details, will not tolerate anything, will be a perfectionist basically. It doesn't like any inferior quality work.
And here there is a parivartana between Venus and Ketu. That's why the mathematics will come.
Yes.
Question: if on the 10th there is a Rahu, then how do you calculate that weekday order?
Okay, I said Sunday to Saturday, or start from Sunday to Saturday,
Yeah.
Rahu Ketu,
If there is
And-
a Rahu in the 10th,
and make it cyclical.
Rahu, Ketu,
So Rahu,
Sunday.
Ketu, Sunday, Monday.
Monday. Then moon will be the
moon will be there.
That is why when in the classics it has written, when Rahu is in the 10th house, the person goes to Tirth Yatra, pilgrimage. Why?
The moon.
Moon is a planet of travel.
Travel for
And it's
spiritual purposes.
why spiritual?
Because it is moon, it's a sattvic
Yeah,
planet.
it's a Sattvic planet.
If
Hence,
it is Venus, it would give you for pleasure.
Pleasure.
Travel for pleasure.
yeah. So that is why. You see. So what else can you? He's a student. Yeah. So he'll be. Mathematics is definitely good. Abstract mathematics definitely, because the Ketu Venus Parivartana.
So the recent one that we went through today, being 4th and 5th houses, the matrix and all this, so they are not applicable in this chart.
In this chart. The only thing is the person he'll be good at physics or anything to do. The sun is in Lagna.
From Rahu, Sun is in 5th house, from the Atmakaraka.
Atmakaraka is not to be included when you're analyzing your unless you're talking about soul level desires. But sun shows light. So sun and Jupiter will indicate interest in. The person will be interested in reading also. Reading lot of books and all that.
Where is Jupiter?
No, sun is in.
Sun 1 in 5. Sun 1 in 5 gives him Veda, Nahar.
Yeah,
He likes to read Bhagavad Gita.
Bhagavad Gita.
Yes.
Sun-
That's what Sun in
Sun in the first Bhagavad Gita, specifically it's written Bhagavad Gita. Which sloka is it?
110.
110. No, not 110.
Around that.
113.
Okay.
The sun in the first or fifth gives knowledge of Vedas and Bhagavad Gita.
1 and 5, yeah.
And plus you have to see other things like sun here is in Pisces. Very nice. Not everybody with sun in Lagna will be interested in that.
His exam, friendly house.
Friendly house.
So Mandi doesn't affect where in first house.
No, Mandi is not. We have not seen Mandis.
But there is no K Madhura Yoga here.
In Rashi is good. In Rashi chart.
So in Rashi chart, when that Dasa will come, that will manifest.
From Arudha Lagna, Rahu is in 2nd and
Ketu is in 8th.
8th.
So, and moon is aspecting Rahu. So but the thing is, here Rahu is in its own house.
Yeah, he is very strong. That's what I said.
Functional benefit.
Yeah, it's a functional benefit. It is now Rahu, so it will give yogas in its nature. Like the person may be involved in like export, that kind of work. Later on, whenever Rahu does it.
Going to Ketu Dasha is going to come.
Right. So that Ketu,
Ketu is 11th Lord here.
No, second.
From Arudha Lagna.
yeah, no, that is different. But here the combination do exist for Kema Dharma Yoga. But then there are other factors like Rahu is in own house. It is friendly to the Arudha Lagna because Arudha Lagna is ruled by Saturn and all that. But typically if Rahu is weak and Arudha Lagna is ruled by different planet, then Rahu tends to really afflict. I have a case of a friend who has similar combination, Rahu in second, and she did well in export-import stuff. Anything related to Rahu.
You see on TB example. You have some TB example, tuberculosis example.
No, for tuberculosis, it's not like Rahu and Mars will show up. As I said, it will. You have to look into D6 or something. The best way to analyze this Navamsa, the best way is basically to analyze the strengths and weaknesses, to rectify a chart, to look at the financial aspects and all that. It's very useful. Diseases, I didn't focus too much on Navamsa, although you can get a lot from diseases. In Navamsa, no. In Asura Yoga, typically you have to see in Rashi chart. Yeah.
These are Lagna Lord, Jupiter.
No, in Asura Yoga is Jupiter in 8th, and the only exceptions are Jupiter. If Jupiter is the 9th Lord, then Asura Yoga it becomes Shiva Yoga. Like when the ascendant is either Aries or Cancer.
Even when he's in one house, then also Asura Yoga.
Right.
Lagna Lord in 8.
Here, Lagna Lord in 8, that the person tends to deny, is not interested, is not a person who will be interested in marrying or, he has to be forced by circumstances to get married and all that. And he will tend to reject the spouse or, because the 7th house becomes the 12th from it.
It is Saturn in 7.
Saturn is good, right?
Saturn is good, but Malefic in 7.
Yeah, Malefic in 7th, it's not a good planet.
Not a very good
No.
planet.
Only because it is
For marriage purpose.
well, if a strong Saturn is in 7th, it is good. It's not bad. If it is weak,
Parampara.
what has marriage got to do with parampara?
Saturn is the lineage, like
Ketu with Jupiter and all that. Saturn traditionalist.
traditional, yes, sir.
Here, what we didn't analyze is that both Mars and Saturn aspect
Lagna.
Navamsa Lagna. So they will show their effect.
And Lagna Lord in 8.
Lagna Lord in 8th is different. You have to see what the planets affect. Lagna Lord in 8th is, since this is the Navamsa, you can say that the person will not be interested in marriage, or will tend to reject the spouse, or so on and so forth. It'll have nothing to do with the effect of Saturn, that means he'll be a traditionalist. The effect of Mars, that he may be stubborn and hot-headed. And other factors combined, you have to give results. You see, there is a... So, anyway. Any more charts?
If you know the chart, then we can take one chart from this example right here on page 59. Then we can know what our analysis and what Village is saying during the explanation.
That's right.
Yeah, I know, but I don't want to take that because he's analyzing dog bites and all that. Yeah.
This is given for other examples, not this.
Yeah, we'll go through it.
We can analyze them from there.
You had an example with
Yeah, that we can take, but I don't know.
No, but I don't want to analyze a chart just for tuberculosis. It won't make any sense.
Just for Navamsa and what of just to see that.
No, that particular chart I was talking about is from Lagna, 5th house as Rahu. We can put this chart maybe, but I don't. As you said, unless we analyze with.
It's best to analyze charts about
know
people
have
whom
the
we
problem.
about people whom we know in detail, so that we can talk about the the pluses and minuses, like what are the strengths and what are the weaknesses. Otherwise, we don't want to be in a position to speculate, because we are trying to understand a concept, so we have to work with charts we know.
Yeah, known charts.
Yeah. Like in your case, Seshuji, you have Saturn Vargotam. So that gives you a lot of patience, the ability to work hard. In your chart also, Saturn is Vargotam and exalted. So all the aspects of Saturn, like patience, not get angry very easily, or yoga and all that, will manifest, and that has manifested. A person who has very strong business skills, which planet will be?
Venus and Sun.
No, Mercury.
Business.
Mercury is a businessman.
Venus into micromanagement and
Venus, micromanagement, a perfectionist. People who do good QA kind of job, quality assurance. But you have to be very careful in asking questions, or because if you ask questions like, "Are you good at singing?" Everybody thinks they are the greatest singer on earth. They'll say yes, and then they'll say, "Oh, I started listening to music when I was 4 years old." What has that got to do with singing?
But if you're looking at the abilities, right, which falls to the primary fifth
No, all one. Yeah, it's actually more of 1 and 5.
1 and 5.
9 is more you tend to learn.
What if the fifth house is empty? There are no planets.
Then
take its Lord. See how the Lord is placed.
No. Only look at the planets in these trines or the aspect on Navamsa Lagna. Like although a planet may be in 6, but if it aspects the Navamsa Lagna, then that particular planet has blessed that person with that, depending upon what the planet is. For example, if it is Leo rising with Ketu in the 6th, although it is in 6th house, but still it's aspecting from Capricorn, it's aspecting Leo. So the native is blessed with, by Ketu has blessed him. So he will be good at mathematics and so on and so forth. Huh?
Okay, I have the same exact thing that you just said, but I don't think I'm so good at mathematics.
There are other aspects of Ketu, right? Ketu can give interest in Jyotish. Okay, interest in working with small, like watches or small of these equipments, instruments. There are so many other things that Ketu indicates.
So look at the aspects.
Fuzzy logic and all that, ability to deal with fuzziness very easily. Ketu can also give hot-headedness, extreme form of anger, terrorism.
Yeah, that is true. When I know simple, I am really.
That is everybody says.
Everybody, yeah, but there are levels. So that's why you have to ask a couple of people around him. Is that really bad?
Yeah.
So Venus Ketu in trials are this. What is that? I'm trying to get the rules.
Saturn, Venus, Ketu, Tapasvi Yoga.
It's Ketu and Venus in time. I don't think we did cover that.
Saturn Venus Ketu gives you the
Tapasvi Yoga.
determination.
Tapasvi Yoga.
Yeah, Mercury and Venus aspecting Ketu, that is mimicking and talkative or something. But I didn't see Venus Ketu.
No, Venus and Ketu is
yeah, religious order. Ketu and Venus.
Oh, okay.
Venus Ketu combination
Yeah.
is my son's chart.
In time.
Yes.
D9 aspect.
But Saturn should also be influencing.
It is Saturn in 8th house
Venus,
of five.
Ketu.
Saturn is not having an aspect, but it is Jupiter, Venus,
Here it
Ketu
is
in
found.
Lagna.
Yeah, Jupiter is there.
Plural
When you
aspect.
see, when you count this
D9
tense
aspect.
and
Means Lagna means
weekday order
physical.
Yeah.
There is a
D9
plan
Lagna
for
aspect.
Right.
Suppose sun comes to
Ketu,
Lagna,
D9
you count
aspect.
like that.
Mm.
But the sun is debilitated. So the debilitated sun
No.
is nothing to do with sun.
No, if you're saying if Libra is the Lagna, no. No, you don't consider that.
What we are saying in that case is the effects of sun, the mind, the person behaves as if he has got the effects of the sun on him. That's how that is.
Yeah.
Now not debilitated.
No, forget about
No, I don't
debility.
think it has anything to do with debility or
Just put, it's as if that sun is on Lagna.
Yeah.
If you,
Right, exactly. We are just looking at the qualities of sun on the Lagna. That's how the person is.
the, like Venus in 10th house, I think
There is
will.
an example in Sanjay's thing saying, depending upon the planet in 10th, you will see the fourth house from there.
Yeah.
Fourth from there, fourth planet from there.
Right.
And the places where if he is making a lot of money in this, and the way that the person will change with that money,
Yes.
how he behaves will be you see from here.
Yes, true. How finance will affect you?
In this particular case of the example I have seen the Mars in 10th, in this case the Mars in 10th, Malefic in 10th, he is mostly going to lose money in Mars Dasha.
In Mars, some finances are not going to be
Finances
good.
are going to be on the low side. What kind of effect will that have on him? So what kind of effect will that have on him from his mind point of view when he loses that money?
Right.
It
Or
is from
yeah.
Venus in the first house.
Right. Yes. True.
If there are two planets in the 10th house,
Both.
or two or three more,
All. Consider the effects of all the planets.
That means one from each of those things.
Yes.
The combined effect of those planets will be felt on them.
Right.
so it's a mixed result.
Yes. Mishram Mishre. That's what Gemini says. Mixed planets will give mixed results.
Okay.
Um,
So if the effect means what the effect of suppose Saturn, Jupiter, 10. So Rahu and Ketu can give influence on the Lagna. So we need to see where the Rahu and Ketu in the chart and see.
No, Rahu and Ketu, what does it mean? Rahu, metallurgist, big,
Okay.
that characteristics you will get.
But it's extreme, right? Ketu is small instrument and Rahu is big instrument.
So the person may be good at both.
Using Rahu data comes.
And the Dasa. Yeah, and the Dasa also. Like for example, planets which are friendly to Ketu will favor Ketu. Planets which are friendly to Rahu will favor Rahu.
Yes, promote that
Exactly.
aspect. So we don't need to worry about where the planets Rahu and Ketu are actually in the chart.
Yeah. In fact, what will happen is if both Rahu and Ketu's influence, the person will go from one extreme to the other. From being a total materialistic, he can go to spiritualist, or from a spiritualist, he can go to be a materialist.
So mixed in mind.
Confused. Confucius. We'll take basically we'll take some examples given in the book itself, and we'll finish it, or we'll try it. There's a lot. At least we'll take a couple of examples. Although I wanted to take live example, that makes more sense because you can always go home and read the book.
Right.
In fact, I will ask you
take
to.
any example?
I will ask you to just go through these examples and make notes, and
And
if
then
you
read
have,
the book.
huh?
No, my take on this will be see the chart data, see the birth data on this example, make our own analysis,
Right.
and then read this.
Yes. Make your analysis. Next week, come back, and then we'll compare notes. Who wrote what, and what does the book say? Okay, so don't read those things. Okay, so you might. Okay.
You can email it.
Yeah, you can email. You guys are on a list.
Yeah.
This is when you do continuously.
I will show you a chart. Just tell me.
This book he gave for free. Right? He put this book on the PDF of this
No,
book.
no, that's Narayan Das. I'll give you a chart now. Okay, I'm going to put a chart on the projector. Just tell me something about the person, okay? That way it will be better.
Real or is just making up something?
No, it should be real. You will know.
It is not really right.
Very stable, private, 6 years.
Okay. Okay. The birth chart is April 27, 1971, 6:35 a.m., 72 East 50 and 19 North 7. So you see the Navamsa rising is Virgo. So tell me something about the person.
Second house has Venus and
Jupiter is retrograde, right?
It is retrograde. But what has that got to do with anything?
But Lagna has the aspect of moon.
Okay. Why is
Fifth Mars, that indicates
Tapas is usually Saturn, Venus and Ketu.
he is a logic, Mars in fifth.
Okay.
The person is very logical.
Yeah, but there are other things also. Mars. Tell me all about Mars.
Making bombs.
No, not
Logic.
It's very aggressive.
His logic.
Why aggressive? Mars.
Mars is exalted in Capricorn.
Yeah, and also it's Vargotam.
Exalted.
Yeah.
It's all good.
So, but the exaltation usually gives the good.
It's a positive thing, but he is very strong in that.
Hot-headed.
Hot-headed,
Anger
Good
prone.
speaker. Venus is in second and like Venus in fifth, they say speaker, poetic and critic. But he also said that it could be second also.
Second, that means over a period of time.
Over a period of time.
You know.
These rules we are applying as if it is on the physical basis for him on the Rasi, right? So we apply the same rules of that, whether it's Rasi or Navamsa here in this case.
No, Navamsa. These are your
Purely.
these are your talents. These are what you're blessed from your past life.
One for one side.
Yeah.
So he's a speaker.
See, Saturn is aspecting.
Saturn aspecting Lagna and Moon. Saturn Moon aspecting Lagna.
Yeah.
What is feeling with moon is aspecting Lagna?
He's not, but the other aspects of Moon will come. Moon is not passionate.
Compassion.
Compassion. Well, there are other. Moon does show compassion, that is true. So let's just list of compassion. Saturn shows traditional. Saturn may show hardworking. Saturn may show nervous in front of others. Mars, logical, hot-headedness, assertive. Huh? Mars, but in this day and age, please don't look for that.
No, I'm just trying for modern equivalence.
Yeah, this guy is not a murderer.
No, I know.
He can be a cow.
Yeah.
He's not.
He could be. I
Huh?
don't know, I'm just looking for modern.
Yes. So the question is, does this Navamsa Lagna make sense? If at all, which Navamsa Lagna would you move and why?
Move to why?
And why?
Why would we move? Because we need to know this person.
Okay, true.
Mars in fifth is good at martial arts.
So if you know, like, so this person is, then if you say this person is, oh, okay.
So, so Mars will give very, no tolerance for patience. No tolerance, basically. A person wants to drive fast cars and all that. Logic, good at logic. See, if you have to analyze it very carefully. You have the Saturn's influence also, Mars influence also. These are contradicting influence. And so depending upon the dasa, these things will manifest.
Slow, sometimes fast.
Yeah.
And that
Moon aspecting is okay.
Moon also makes a good, interested in teaching and all that. Not just or also author, maybe the person may write a book, whatever.
Gulika refers by GK, right?
Yes. Here Gulika is not involved in any way.
And that means moon Gulika aspect may give receipt of stolen wealth.
Yeah, I said mostly that is used in Prashna.
Yeah.
As far as finance is concerned, since 10th house has no planets, should we take his 10th lord and see where he is?
Yeah.
Mercury.
And he's in 8th house, so his finances are definitely not in right order.
No.
They are low.
Yeah. Typically, see, during Mercury Dasa, the person will make money.
Depends whether Mercury, the effects on Mercury.
Mercury is a benefic and it is not afflicted too much by malefics. But
second is benefic and 8th also are benefic. So how come? What we are-
no, the 10th lord is finance, 10th house,
Right,
10th
right,
lord.
okay, yeah.
So during Saturn Dasa it could be bad because Saturn a malefic is aspecting. Moon's aspect on the 10th house is a saving grace.
Do we count from Tuesday 4?
No, but here there is no planet in 10th.
Oh, okay. No planet.
No planet.
So that doesn't apply. That rule doesn't apply.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. That's good to know.
So, but that is how you go about when you start analyzing, and you ask that person, and if it is not making sense, then you change the lagna and see if the others are making sense. Right. So if you move, so that's how you analyze and use these principles often.
Like in this case, it gets very tricky, right?
Yeah.
Somebody comes, I cannot, Saturn's influence is for very patient.
Patient person, but this, yes.
So very non-patient.
Right. If you look at the Rashi chart, Saturn is debilitated, so Saturn is not strong. But he will eventually will have to face the consequences, and then Saturn's influence will be seen. That means the person will have to learn patience, and it will be very difficult. Why? Because Mars is strong. So what does that tell you? As the age progresses,
Right.
Saturn will tend to become stronger.
So that is the Mars' natural age go beyond the natural age.
No, not that.
Huh?
When a person is young, the person is
Oh,
likely
yeah,
to be
yeah.
impulsive and
Yeah,
restless.
right.
When the person gets older, he'll become wise, he'll become, the natural Saturnian abilities will take over. That way. So the person, whenever, typically when the person crosses 36 years of age, then such effects tend to manifest. This person wouldn't even like to sit 5 minutes in prayer sessions.
Why is that? Because 9th house is
Mars is so strong, he has no patience to sit.
Vargotama too. Mars is Vargotama.
Yes,
how do you say Svargatama from here?
because I know the chart.
I have a chart here. Both last year.
No, from the
Look at Rashi.
yeah, but just thinking from there itself, can I say it's Vargatama, looking at the degrees?
Yes, you can calculate. Mars is in the first degree of
Mars is in
Chara.
2 degrees in Capricorn, so it's got to be Vargatama.
You should listen to the MP3 of the last class. We covered in detail how to cast Navams and all.
So your moon is also this chart is moon is also strong. It is in Taurus, Rashi.
Rashi chart. But moon's effect will be seen. But there are there are so many shades of different of these planets. It's very difficult to say which one will show up.
9th is very second.
So in moon, the person is
Like singing is one aspect, but if the person doesn't know to sing at all,
yeah.
very bad. So
Lagna Lord is in the 8th.
yeah,
So that means not very good for, was hesitant in marriage or something?
yeah, it will tend to.
Venus is 9 in the Navamsha. Venus is Venus aspect on Lagna.
What?
Sorry, not aspect. Second aspect, Argala.
Argal.
And he is the 9th lord.
Yeah. Yes.
He's like a right ears.
As the ninth lord, don't give importance to the
9th lord.
lordship
Lordship,
here.
okay.
We are just looking at the influence of planets and their naisargika karakatva on the lagna. That means he will tend to work.
Right.
Huh?
We discussed all the fourth and fifth basically, and then at the end we said we can also apply this to the second house. Right?
Yes,
Yeah.
but there is. Yeah, you can apply.
Jupiter in second would, one of the things we discussed was author. Right?
A author, interest in astrology. But typically you would see the interest of astrology in the trines.
Right.
Seventh lord.
If I say that the person is an astrologer
There is no lordship.
and he actually started astrology at the age of 14 without 15 or 16, then nobody teaching him. Self-taught.
Why? What planet?
Yeah. What would make you? Yeah.
Lagna Lord in 8th house.
Yeah, Lagna Lord in 8th.
No lordship.
No lordship. No lordship.
No lordship.
Mercury in 8th will give students like learning, learning.
8th house has no influence.
Rahu and 10th.
Why you are taking houses? Look at the trines and tell me. If you don't have a proper reason, then tell me which lagna would suggest it.
Libra Lagna.
Because Jupiter aspected by Ketu.
Right. Right.
Aspected by Ketu.
1-5, yeah, 1-5-9.
What if you move the lagna to Cancer then?
Cancer in Leo.
Cancer.
So far.
Leo also fine, Leo, but Rahu will be predominant in lagna. If you put lagna as
Cancer.
That is clear.
Now,
Sun.
Ketu is aspecting, Sun is also a Jyothishya planet.
Moon in 9.
Moon, effects of moon will show up in various ways.
Only sun.
Only sun.
If you move it to Cancer, only sun would indicate.
Yeah, Ketu is, what about Ketu? Ketu aspecting.
Ketu aspect and in 8.
No houses.
Don't,
No houses as in, if it's not right, then don't.
But Virgo is, I mean, in this case, Virgo would suggest more, right?
Why?
I mean, because Ketu is in the fifth house.
How Ketu is in 5th house with Virgo lagna?
So if you move to Libra, easy mathematician, like easy.
He likes,
math.
he used to love
So
mathematics.
Libra is more sense, right? Libra makes more sense. Because fifth, Ketu in 5th will give more of a...
Okay, I'll tell the native, the person has to change.
Is a native plays any music instrument?
No.
So if Cancer Lagna is not possible.
Ask questions, I know the person very well.
I don't think.
Okay.
Cancer Lagna doesn't make sense if he is not playing any musical instruments or something because the sun is strong in that.
Yeah, but the native might say that Jyotish also is indicated by sun.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not necessarily that he
Yeah, but
should
if
play.
it's a Libra Lagna, Ketu in 5th house is in trine, so that could...
Sure, it's in trine, but with Cancer Lagna, Ketu is also aspecting it.
Libra Lagna is
But then Ketu aspect is different. Ketu in the 5th shows some abhyasa.
Yeah.
And actually Ketu in 5th will show Abhyasa because when you say on his own he started learning, then that's more an Abhyasa than teaching.
My point is, since he started learning on his own, then the influence of Jyotisha planet should be on Lagna,
That is,
right?
Yeah.
On your own. Then when you're learning from a guru, then the 9th house will show, and the 5th house will show your own effort and at the same time learning.
Right.
so why are we not looking at Libra?
So, assignment for next week. Analyze, take this data down. April 27, 1971. April 27, 1971. keep the tentative time as 6:35
Yeah.
a.m.
Yeah.
and place of birth is Andheri, Bombay. And tell me which Navamsa Lagna you would prefer, and give the reasons why.
Person to be a Jyotish.
Jyotish, or interested in astrology, he likes mathematics, very good at numbers.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, yeah.
Because Libra will make more sense if it is Libra.
I'm not arguing with you. I just want to give counter arguments, basically.
No, if it's Libra Lagna, his AL will fall in Cancer.
Yeah,
Then Ketu has an direct aspect on AL.
yeah. But typically we don't use AL as much
No, I'm sorry.
in analyzing your. But give this chart more importance. Give the reasons why.
But to do that, we need to know a few things about the person in order to.
Okay, ask.
What do you know to know? But actually, I think it's better to do this here because the person is here to give me.
The person is here, but you can also work on it, and because we have to, the person has to wrap up. Just I want arguments. It doesn't have to be like. You can take any lagna if you want, but around this will be better, and give reasons. If you want since it is for you guys, if you want any details about the person, you can ask me. I can provide the details about the person.
Is the person married?
No, he's not.
So I have a general question. We now know a way to look at abilities a person has.
Right.
How to look at abilities that a person does not have or
Don't look for it. The person is not a genius.
How do I look at his origin?
Okay. All right. I think we'll wrap it up for now. Thank you very much. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.